Hello everyone, welcome to the video lecture series on object-oriented programming through Java. We are learning about generic classes and generic methods. As part of that, in the last class we learned about generic methods. So I'll revise once. Generic methods or generic classes are normally used to create a single method declarations where like if you take generic methods, we can have a single method declaration, and the same method can be called with multiple with different data type parameters. That how can that be possible, and how a normal method can be converted to a generic method? All these things we learned in the last class. The same concept can be applied to a class also, where we can have a single class declaration, and that single class declaration can be worked with multiple data type values. So how that will be working and all, so we'll see in today's class. Okay, so to understand this one, I'll take a simple example. So through the example, let us say what is the problem we'll be having with a normal class, and how that problem can be solved with our generic class. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'll take one class. So this class will be taking a value called data. Let us call this class name is data. Okay, so in this class what I'm going to do is I want to take two methods. First method will enable us to put one data type value into a parameter, and another method will be allowing us to return that value. Okay, to understand this one, I'll see here. I'm taking a method called put is one method. So what is the use of this method? Just I want to place a value into the parameter. So let us take for our reference, let us take the argument is n. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'll take one more argument here. Let us take one parameter, integer parameter. Let us call that is x. Now whatever argument you are passing at the time of calling this put method, that value I want to place it. Very simple. Just I want to put the value that has been passed as an argument into this variable called x. Right, so this is a put method. Now coming to the other method, what I want to do is I want to return a value. So I want to return this integer value, and let us call that method is get method. Okay, and what I want to do here, I just want to return the value, and whatever x value we have, we just want to return this one. I hope you all are following. This is my simple class, where in this class I have taken two methods. One method is to replace the value whatever we have passed as an argument with this a value. We want to copy that value, and whenever you are calling this method, whatever value you have in the x, that will be returned to that one. Now to understand this one, what I will be doing is I'll take one main method. Okay, so let us call that class as ex2. Okay, and in this class what I am doing is I'll write my main method. Now here what happens is if you want to call this method or this method, what is the normal approach we used to do is we need to call the object of this one, and by using that object we used to call this method, isn't it or not? So for that what we'll be doing, I'll create an object data. Let us call the object is d equal to new data. Okay, so we have created the object, and then now I want to call d dot put. I want to call this method. So how you will be calling? By using this object dot put, and you need to pass the argument. What type of argument you need to pass? You need to pass an argument of integer type. So before passing that one, let us create one argument of that one. So how to create that argument? So what I am doing is I'll create one integer object. Okay, so how to create that one? Right, integer I equal to, I am placing a value of 10. Okay, now I can pass this I value as an argument to the put method. That's it, very simple. Now simply you can call d dot, you can use the system dot out dot println. Okay, and you can write d dot you can get the value d dot get method by calling that method. Whatever value you have given, you can simply write this method there. Okay, this is very simple. This is a normal program what we used to do. What I have done, I'll repeat once again. I have taken a class called data, and in this data class I have taken an argument, instance variable is x, and then I have taken two methods called put method and a get method, and this put method will take the one argument, and that argument value will be copied into this instance method. Okay, and then we have taken a get method which will be returning the value. Now if you want to call this put method or get method, we have a normal procedure of creating an object of that one, and by using that object dot we are going to call this one. Very simple. Now this works very well if you are giving an argument for integer. But suppose if you want to call a method, okay, if you want to call the same method, let us call you have created one more object d1. Okay, now you want to call d1 dot, you want to call put of, you want to pass an argument of Jyoti, that is string. Observe carefully, here you are passing integer. Now you want to pass the Jyoti. Can this method be called? No, it will not be called. If you are trying to do, it will throw an error saying like it will accept only the integer. Are you following what I am doing? See, earlier without this statement, we whatever program we have written, that will work well. Why? Because we are passing an integer argument as requested by this put method. But suppose if you want to work the same method or these two methods to work with whenever you are passing a string value, to achieve that one, then what we can do is we can convert our class, whatever class we have, into a generic class where this will work perfectly for any data value you are passing, any type of object. Okay, then how to convert this class into this generic class? Right? So to do that one, what we need to do is, it's very simple. You need to have a placeholder after your class name. Whatever class name you have, you need to place the placeholder. To place the placeholder, you need to use the less than symbol. Give any placeholder. As an example, I am taking T and close this one. So T, instead of T, you can use any alphabet or anything you can use. Remember, this is just for our reference. Now what you are going to do, this is your placeholder. Now wherever you have your data type mentioned or class name mentioned, that has to be replaced with T. That means this integer, you can see this has to be replaced with T, and this integer also replaced with T, and here also the return type is of integer type, you have to replace it with T. Right? Now what do you mean by this one? Then how any data type can be accepted? Then how this will be knowing? Here you are passing integer type means it will be accepting the integer type for the first step. But how this will be knowing what type of data type you are passing? That will be known by mentioning the data type or the class name at the time of object creation. Okay, so how you can do that one? Simply you need to write like this. Here I have created, let us call this is D1. Okay, so I will be calling D1, and this is D2. I will create one more object D2 also. But before that, whenever you are creating an object of D1 data type, if it is passing an integer type, then after the class name, you need to mention your object class, whatever type it is. Okay, so as D1 is passing an argument of integer type, I have to tell this one as integer type. Similarly, and before and here also after data, you need to tell the type, whatever you are going to pass. Now if you see, I am creating one more object called D2. I will copy this one and place here. So what I am doing, for D2, I want to pass the string type, isn't it or not? So here in place of integer, what I have to mention? I have to mention string. Right? I have to mention string here also. So by this, like this if you are doing, then it will be understanding like at the time of object creation, this D value, for this D1 if you take, this D value this t value will be taken as integer, and this x value is also taken as integer, and the argument is also taken as integer, and the return type is also taken as integer. For d2, whenever you are calling this put method, it will be, this t will be taken as your string, and this t will be taken as string, and it will be replaced everywhere with the string. So to understand this one, we'll take this one as d1 as get, and I'll copy this one. Okay, d2 dot get. I hope you all are clear, you are following. So what I have done, same class will work for multiple data type objects. First object is of integer type, right? For that also it will work. Second object is of string type also, again it will work for that one while passing the arguments. Okay, so such a class is called as a generic class. So let us run this program and check how it is working. Okay, so but before that, I think we need to save our program. I'll save the program here. Okay, now let us compile our program and check the output. So Java C, any errors are there, that will be displayed. Okay, no errors are there. So let us run this program. So what we are expecting? We are expecting two outputs. Why? Because see how it will be executing. D1, we are mentioning integer value will be, it's of integer type. So t is of integer type, we are specifying like this here. Okay, for d2, t is of which type? String type, we are mentioning like this. So whenever you are calling d1 dot put of I, then here the n value will be considered as integer, and it will be returning that value whatever you have given. As I have given 10, so I will be getting 10. Okay, similarly you are passing a string data type value. String value can also be passed, right? So we got a value of 10 and 20. But suppose if you are not using this generic class, then we need to create one more class where it has to accept this data type of string and all, right? So that problem is solved by using the same class where it will work for multiple values. Okay, multiple types, right? So this is about generic class. But whenever you are working with generic class, you need to follow some rules. What is that rule is, generic class declaration looks like non-generic class declaration only, except the difference is it has to be followed by the parameter section. It has to be, the class name is followed by the type parameter section. That is what I have mentioned here. This is the placeholder. What I am telling you, that has to be followed after your class name. Right? Now the second rule is, as like generic methods, like for the generic class also we can have one or more type parameters separated by the comma. What do you mean by that one is, this we have already learned in the generic method. It is not like we can have only one placeholder here. You can have another placeholder according to your requirements. Simply put separated by comma, and then place as many number of placeholders you want. According to your application, if your application requires like that, you can have that one. That is what mentioned here. As with generic methods, the type parameter section of the generic class can also have one or more type parameters which should be separated by the comma. Okay, this is about generic class. Just remember, like generic class is nothing but we will be having a single class declaration which can be used with a set of related types. But and also generic method also the same way, where we are applying generic in one class, one method is considered as a generic class, but where in one class one method is considered as generic method, but whereas in a single if you are making a class as a generic, then all the methods should be considered as like that. Okay, I hope you all are clear with this concept of generic classes. Let us all meet in our next lecture. Until then, thank you all of you.